G'day fellow howlers, it's Thrasher here, and on today's episode of Fade To Obsidian, they are talking about Golden Sun. So if you haven't read the books, please stop being a fucking pixie and do so. Today's episode will also contain sex, violence, and coarse language, so viewer discretion is advised.
I didn't test levels, but they should be the same.
Yeah, did you change them?
No. Did I change them? No, not on this one. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Fade To Obsidian. I am Skipper, joined as always by Crescent, and we get our always favorite guest, Salem. Welcome back, Salem.
Lots of pressure.
Lots of pressure. This is your third. No one else has even shown up twice, and this is your third episode with us.
Well, the second one was a spitball, so I mean,
that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
it's
just,
like
you
an
just didn't
official
leave
one
after the one before.
Oh,
yeah, it's just a continuation. It's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah, which we're unfortunately not getting. Nobody's getting a filler episode after Golden Sun. Maybe later on in some of the books we'll get one, but this is all you're getting for the end of Golden Sun. So we'll jump basically right in. What are you drinking though? What are we all drinking?
Well, Hydra would be proud of me. I'm drinking my water, so
nice.
I have to work tomorrow, so no alcohol for me.
That is fair. Crescent, what do you have?
I've got Ardbeg Ugdal, and I'm drinking
those aren't words, but okay.
It's Celtic. Okay. It's rude. I'm drinking it because I absolutely love it, and when it's done, I'm devastated, just like this book.
Aww. I am drinking. I'm back to my 40 Creek Copper Pot, which is what I drank when we did the very first beginning of Red Rising, because we are back in the mines at the end of this one. So felt we're going home. We're going back to my usual classic there. So there you go. Huh. So talking about going home. So these chapters open very dramatically. So we're talking chapters 40 to the end.
Yes.
And we are dying.
Yes.
Immediately dying.
Stuck in the mud in a star shell. No possibility of getting out besides somehow trying not to cut off your arms.
Yeah. And also simultaneously managing to nearly drown yourself.
Yeah. I do feel like that was comical. He's just so Darrow's stuck in the mud. He's stuck in his star shell, and he is so desperate to get out because he's gonna run out of air. Doesn't even think that he's I don't even know how far deep underwater, and he just starts hacking away at himself and realizes, oh no, there goes all of my air, and now I'm full of water.
Yep.
Yeah.
Typical Darrow, thinking 0 steps ahead.
Yes. Need to do it now.
But to be fair, I feel like when you're panicked and nearly drowning, you're not necessarily thinking.
There's no thought. Just do.
Yeah, which I do. I will give, I would say, for this, full props to Pierce in his writing of each stage of this is written so differently of that manic, oh my God, I'm going to die. And then, no, I've got a plan. We're going to get through this. And then back to the nope, I'm going to die. And you go back to the short sentences. It is, I think, I haven't really been in that position, but what I would imagine, that just panic is. It's just such good writing that you are feeling it while you're reading it.
Yeah, I do enjoy, and you can kind of see it even between Red Rising and Golden Sun, just how the writing changes as Darrow changes. And I don't know if that's necessarily something that Pierce planned, or if that is something that it came with more writing and more publishing skill. But it does kind of coincide with his character development. But like you said, like I like how he goes and chops up his sentences when Darrow's panicking about something versus when he's really kind of in the moment and reflecting on something. He's very almost poetic in his responses.
Yeah, for sure.
I really like in this section, it kind of parallels the drill scene.
Yeah.
In Red Rising. And he even talks about how the sling blade will save your life for the price of a limb.
Yep.
But he does say, like, my hands are still steady even when I'm panicking.
I wish mine were.
And, right?
I know, right? Mine do not.
No.
No. But yeah, because he manages to, how fast of a movement to like
faster
flick
than a
it so
tongue
that
of fire.
Yeah, that like you got to get it from around your arm to like, oh God. Yeah.
Yeah, I like every time I hear that, I like try to move my thumb fast enough to
like
to be like, how fast does it have to be?
I feel like I have too much
to
carpal
toggle
tunnel.
it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. The arthritis.
Yeah.
Also, can we talk about how Darrow is 20, 21?
Yeah.
And this,
Yeah.
like, and he's taking over worlds.
Yeah,
and
he's conquering a planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, when I was 20, I had a job.
Yeah.
Like,
went to school.
Yeah. I for sure felt that this time around. I don't know if I didn't really as much pick it up in previous read-throughs, but this time around I'm like, why are the adults just like instantly listening to him? And like, you've got a full fleet, you've got everyone there, and he's just like, yeah, Roke, also a 20-year-old, be in charge of everything, which then later we find out they call him, what is it, Nelson reincarnated.
Yeah.
And it's like there was nobody else. No other adult said, "Hey, I've done this before." We just gave it to a bunch of 20-year-olds.
We're gonna let the next generation do it. It's fine. They got this.
It's all good. Which worked out. Like that's great on their behalf. But yeah, this read around, I think, really reflected to me of like, how old are you? What is happening? What? Okay,
you're all children.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Which then I think also lends itself to some of the relationships that you're like, you know, the more minuscule fighting amongst friends and things like that. You're like, okay, our maturity levels are not 100% there still. Like we are still learning how to
late teens, early 20s drama.
Yes. Definitely comes through on this in a bigger scale. It's not, you know, the rest of us, I'm just mad at you for whatever. Like, no, you're gonna die or I'll kill you. Like, what is happening? Yeah.
Chaos
Happening. Well, and that even leads into like the next stuff. So after he gets freed and everything and they're back on the banks, we see like for me a huge portion of this time through that I don't think I focused on again as much previous is Thistle's fight with him about Ragnar having the razor.
Yeah. Which very much so coincides with what Severo told Darrow after they realized, like after Severo and him had that conversation about Darrow being a red. And he's like, no, Thistle's not going to agree with anything that you have to say. And it very much so was displayed when Thistle really did not like the fact that Ragnar had a blade.
Yeah. And Darrow's even like, she won't follow me after this. And it's like, yep, you're right.
Correct.
That is exactly what's about to happen.
Yeah. Well, so this came up in Out of Context, so I do have a good quote here for it. And this was because we were discussing, like, that's what she stands her ground on, of like, give back the razor, and they've got everything else happening around them. So hold on, let's make sure this goes.
Every time I read that, I'm like, ma'am, there's a war on.
Ma'am, there's a war on.
So not wrong. Like, you have bigger fish to fry, dude. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
and this is what you're angry about?
And also, like, if you push this, you're like really in smashing range. Like, you're trying to fight Ragnar, who is holding a razor, and is within stabbing distance of you. Like,
well, and she, well, in comparison, because Thistle's part of like the low reds, right? Like, or not low reds, low golds, and low drafts, and
dreads,
so she's small, right? Like, so literally, you are much smaller than this like mountain of a man, and you are deciding to pick a fight on that.
Yeah,
I think you need to reevaluate your choices.
Yeah, and you're not in pulse armor. You're not in a star shell.
No,
you're in like basically long underwear.
Yeah. And that's when you're gonna, this is kind of the first to fully, like, we've got previous to this a few people questioning, like, what are you doing, Darrow? But I think this is the first time that it's like, you can't do that. Like, I am not standing here letting you, like, do that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting turn.
Yeah, we have Darrow ask the Telemanus men, like, do you think Ragnar could lead absent a gold? And they're like, what? And then it's like, just breeze by that. But then
like,
this
if
one's like,
Darrow's gonna have any red flags, like, if he's gonna have any red flags, that's the start.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But getting on from that, it worked. Well, kind of works out, but we end up directly after that. So we get Ragnar going off and leading, and then them going, and Darrow ends up on the Sovereign ship, which is a fun little.
Hell yeah.
I totally forgot about that when I was reading it. And then it's just, he's booking it. He's just like sprinting as hard as he can to get to her ship. And he just jumps on and he's there. And he's just there.
And he's
staring
like, I
at
totally
all of the Olympic Knights.
Have a plan.
Yeah, I think the line is something like, they're not supposed to be in the bay because they're all just out.
He's like, I thought they would be further into the ship.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Also, I really like Octavia just being like all over it. He's like, I've got a pulse grenade. And you just go, pilot, roll. It's like, well,
no grab boots for Darrow.
Yep.
Sucks to suck.
I am so excited when this becomes a movie or TV show just for that scene. Like, I hope it does it justice of just that, like, the whole world spinning and them all perfectly standing there and Darrow just like in a dryer, like tumble. Like, that's what I'm picturing.
I want it to just be like the frame stays exactly how it is and all of them just rotate around and just Darrow just
I imagine him as like a pair of socks in my dryer, just like
100%.
Yeah,
so funny.
Just bloody. Though I guess it depends what you've gotten up to.
I guess so.
But in that scene, Darrow's trying to be big bad dude, and Fitchner is reveals himself in there.
Yes. Well, we get Fitchner kind of originally slips up trying to defend him too much.
Yeah.
And that's when the Sovereign's like, What's happening
You
here?
should
What's
kill him.
happening here?
Yeah, how about you kill him? Though honestly, like, kind of works out for him.
Yeah.
Like, if he hadn't, Aja would have just been like,
yeah,
yes,
and you're toast. Because what the hell is anybody else gonna do? Is Aja?
Yeah, exactly. She's too fast for anything.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really the only way it ends up working out.
I just want to know what Fisher's plan was. Like, he goes and he tells Darrow,
like, I've got this.
Yeah. He goes and he tells Darrow, and he's like, oh my God, you're not supposed to be here. I got this. What are you doing? But at that point, also, it's like, okay, your plan's done. Like, Darrow's there. What are you going to do? You can't convince Octavia to do anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like, he pretty much says it to Darrow as he's dropping the grenade in the hold and they're dipping.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, yeah, well, that's the plan now. But yeah, curious to know how it would have gone down if Darrow takes the jump and just like whiffs on getting into the cargo bay. It's like, oh well, fuck.
Yep. What do you do now?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it would be interesting to, I don't know. We always say that all of these from different perspectives so that you can know, like, was Fitchner just going to blow up the ship, right? Like, they're all there. That would be the, like, in my mind, who has no tactical or strategic planning of any type.
Yeah, that would be cutting the head off.
Just blow up you just blow up the ship. They're all there. They're all done. But, like, was there something else? Because I think at some point he negotiates of, like, well, let's capture, like, keep Darrow hostage or kidnap, whatever. But, like, what is that prisoner? That's the word I'm looking for. Is that it? But then obviously you're not going to blow up the ship with Darrow on the ship then. But yeah, it's like, what was that plan that then was drop a grenade and run? Yep. And while I'm falling, reveal like
my big secret.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what a big secret.
Yeah.
Like, it echoes across the whole beginning section of the trilogy. Like, you go back and you read it and it's like, holy fuck. Just, yeah, that one was that's a big one for me. It was like, wait, what? What the fuck did he just say?
Yeah. Well, and that, like, when you first read it too, like, I think I asked this in, like, the question of the day, but, like, did you even pick up on it? Or was this something that just absolutely blindsided you?
Oh, for me, I was blindsided. I had no, like,
out of everybody that could have been. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like, and it's like he's been climbing the ladder of the society. Like, he goes from Proctor to Rage Knight. Like, he's just becoming more and more important, which, looking back, it's like, yeah, obviously he would want to do that. But
yeah,
when you're reading it for the first time, it's just like, okay,
like, you don't even think about it.
I guess Fitchner's just in it for himself. I mean, he's been shit on his whole life. Like, yeah, I guess so.
Did you guys have theories on who you, like, I feel like I just thought that Ares was out there somewhere else, or maybe not even a person and just someone, like, pulling strings kind of a thing. I did not think it was going to be someone he actually knew.
I never thought that Ares was, like, an actual person. I thought it was just the group. I thought it was more of, like, this is a group, and Darrow, for some reason, thinks it's one singular person, like, running the show. But I don't think that I ever thought it was one individual person.
Mm.
Yeah, for me, I didn't really have theories. A lot of the time when I get into a book and I like it enough that, I'm just, like, going to crush through it, I get through it so fast that it's like I don't take time to think through all the things that it might be. It's just like, okay, I'm gonna find out what it is.
Yeah.
And just
I'm such a plot breaker. I have to.
Are you?
I have to think about it. Yes. I think about stuff all the time. Like, it's the worst when I watch TV shows. Like, literally, I will pick up on all the little things, and then all of a sudden it'll be like halfway through an episode, and I'm like, oh, that's the end of the show.
Yeah. Books, I definitely don't. Books, I'm like constantly surprised by plot twists. TV and movies, I feel like might every once in a while, but
they're a little more predictable, I think, versus books.
But books, I don't ever. I know some people have, like, in the den have some like wild theories that I'm like is mind blowing to me. That I'm like, what?
Or like,
and they're like, well,
I
look
never
at
even
this.
thought of
This.
it.
Yeah,
they're
Charlie's map.
Yeah,
yeah, it's the Post-it notes.
That's a recurring theme.
Yeah, we always go back to the Post-it notes. Yeah, it's crazy what people can pick up on, and like now I feel like I'm seeing that, and it'll be interesting now reading Lightbringer, because we've been so in the den hardcore looking at like, well, this could happen here and this could happen here, that I feel like now in Lightbringer I'm going to read it and be like, where are we going, rather than the rest. It was like, oh, I don't know, I'm just reading it. Like,
right.
I'm going to be very honest with myself. I'm going to read it way too fast to have any sort of insight.
Yeah.
I know who I am.
Read through once and then revisit.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also, I'm really excited for literally none of the theories to be right.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Oh, yeah. It'll be interesting to see how it just like rips apart all of our thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
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 Yeah, because I don't. That's the thing with Pierce, is we can almost never guess anything that he's doing.
Which
he
I think
doesn't
is
even
what
know
makes
what
it
he's
so
doing
good.
half the time. Yeah, that's it.
He just pantses it all the time.
He just pantses, which makes it brilliant. That then you're like, oh, that is what naturally would occur, but like it didn't have to be set up. It just occurred. Yeah.
Also, do you want to explain that term for people who are like me and had no idea what it meant before I heard it on here?
Oh, I was like, what term?
Pantsing. Yeah, pantsing is when you fly by the seat of your pants and you literally. Okay, so when it comes to writing, there are people that are pantsers, and then there are people that are plotters. And plotters will literally outline every single thing and probably write like different chunks so that they can get to the point of their plot. Pantsers don't do that. And I have heard Pierce in interviews literally say he will write from beginning to end. He doesn't chunk it up into different stuff. He literally just goes from beginning to end and he pantses it the entire way.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is we need to buy him some sort of like Kevlar lined jeans, so all the friction will just not ruin his pants.
Exactly. He's sledding down the hill. He might need some new pants.
Yeah. There's a very good interview between him and V.E. Schwab, who is notoriously one of the biggest plotters in the book industry. Yes. And he's the biggest pantser, and he spends the whole time talking, and you can just see she's going into cardiac arrest.
I think she literally says at one point, she's like, oh my God, stop. You're going to give me a panic attack.
Yeah. Because he's like, I don't know. If I, like, my characters end up at a cliff, I have to just figure out how to get around the cliff.
And what would my characters do?
Yeah, it's fine. And she's like, what are you talking about?
I think like him saying that he writes from point A to point B literally blew her mind. Like, I think that's the thing I took away from that. She was just like, there's no way you do that. And he's like, yeah, I do. It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah. So it's which is fascinating now that we're heading into 6 of 7, that it's like, what does that then, how many tied loose ends do you get to in book 7 that you have to then tie them all up?
Yeah.
Like, so it'll be be interesting. But back to Golden
yeah,
Sun.
anyways, back to the second book.
Second book.
Where are we? What are we
doing? Ares has been revealed as Fitchner.
Mm-hmm.
We have, and we are.
A little late. It's fine.
Yeah.
We're falling from the sky. Darrow is on death's door. We didn't even touch on Darrow just like unceremoniously kills the shit out of Karnas.
Oh, yeah. He literally just comes up there and Karnas comes after him?
Yeah, Karnas basically pushes Aja out of the way.
Oh,
and it's like, I'm killing Darrow. And Darrow's like, are you though? And he stabs him through the gut, pulls his razor through by the sharp end, and then cuts his head off. It's like, okay.
Like, why didn't you do that before?
Sentences.
Yeah. Well, this gets back to, remember Lorne with the Cassius thing, and Lorne was like,
could have done him with the Irenicus Folly in 3 moves.
Yeah, and this is now Darrow's like, I'm not playing showman anymore. Like, you're done. Moving on. Who else wants a piece of me?
Yep. Kind of tired of everybody's shit. So.
Yeah.
Which especially I don't blame him. Yes. Also, like, Karnas is the biggest bully.
Yeah.
Out of them all. And it's just like, oh my God, can we stop with this blood feud? Like, I understand. I get it with everything in their family. But like, oh my God, this should be done.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too, is like, for Karnas, it's not about Julian. It's not about Cassius. No. It's literally just like, yeah, my family wants you dead, so I'm gonna kill you.
And you tried to embarrass me in the institute or in the academy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Karnas.
Yeah. And then Darrow gets to hit him with the rise so high in mud you lie.
Yes.
So good.
Just absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, at the beginning of this part is that quote as well. Like, it brings it back to,
because the part's called
that's
mud.
The quote. Yeah.
Yep.
No, the part is called ruin.
Oh, sorry.
But then it says rise so high in mud you lie.
Yeah. I think the last part was mud. Because it's all about Darrow.
The chapter is mud.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
This is the one time I've ever held the book this whole time. Conqueror was last one. But yeah, so you get the quote at the beginning there of ruin.
Yeah.
But
well, okay, because this podcast is about relationships.
Moving
you want
to
talk
the
about
next part.
Well, no, more of like backtracking a little bit, like
okay.
The relation. We'll get there. But more of like the relationship between Fitchner and Darrow. Like in that whole scene when Fitchner is very much so like trying to not get Darrow killed. He's sitting there like looking at Darrow, and Darrow kind of notices that he's looking at him almost like longingly. And he just kind of chalks it up to that whole fact of, oh, well, I'm his student. Like, he's not going to want to kill his student.
Yeah, I'm his prodigal son. Like,
exactly.
Yeah. Well, he brings up that, and he brings up Severo as well. Of like, is it because I'm the student, or is it because of Severo? Like,
because Severo follows me. But then, when I was reading it this time, is it also more of Fitchner is realizing that Darrow is now put into a predicament of he is leading this rise, and he has put so much into Darrow. Fitchner's put so much into Darrow, but at this point, and Fitchner now may have to watch Darrow die.
Yes.
So it's almost that moment of, okay, what do I do? How do I make this not happen? I can't handle losing him at this point in the game because I don't have anybody else to replace him.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the win or die moment, basically.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of an interesting way to tie in all of that emotion that he has, and then lead, like, it was almost like a a little Easter egg for what was about to come and his reveal.
Yeah, like really quick foreshadowing.
Yeah, foreshadowing. That was.
The part, or is it after when we're seeing him with Sever, where he says about like, you weren't my only plan, but you were the one that was the best?
It's definitely not while they're flying away from
It's not
the
this part.
ship.
No.
Never
No,
mind.
I think it's after.
Yeah, Darrow is not in a
any state
in
of
a
he doesn't
place
even know what's happening.
Yeah,
No.
he thinks Fitchner is Nerl.
Yeah, he thinks. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. As Darrow's losing a lot of blood and he's about ready to just say he's done.
Yeah. Seriously.
Actually, that was after he said he was done. Because he's like, you know, there's no way I'm getting out of this. Like, I'm kneeling, basically naked, weaponless, on the floor of a shuttle, like faced by two of the deadliest people in the society. Like,
yeah,
he's like, well,
yeah,
I'm like, okay,
this is it.
I feel like Darrow does that a lot too, where he just accepts his fate, but then very last second is always just like, no, just kidding, I want to live.
Yeah, that's very true.
The rage bubbles up again.
Well, I feel like for him, like it's that live for something more. So is it like he needs either that person or that thing that it's like, I'm not just doing this for myself, right? Like he focuses on like, no, EO's dream, or, you know, live for Mustang, or whatever that moment is. That's where he seems to like focus his energy on, that like there is more out there. So good job, EO, you did your work there.
Yeah.
You created a weapon.
Yes, that's
yeah.
Yeah, and then immediately after this,
I was gonna say, now can we talk
like,
about
now what do we have?
We get the Fade to Obsidian.
Yes.
It was a little more graphic than just Fade to Obsidian.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like definitely more than it had been.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's more of what I mean. Like, it wasn't, like you said, two teenagers groping in the garden.
Yeah.
It was like some real shit.
Yeah.
And then we still got Fade to Black.
Still, yeah. But even, I don't know, I just like, you know, he wakes up and she's just curled around. And I like that she tries to pretend that it was a mistake. That she's like, I fell asleep.
I must have fallen asleep.
On the bed.
On my bed.
She's like, oh yeah, I fell asleep in the chair.
Yeah. Okay, honey. But yeah, and we get the really cute, like, stay, where he finally says stay.
Yeah, where literally, like, she was begging him to let her in. And in that moment, I think it was when he was in the mud, he literally was going over things where he's like, I made a mistake. I really should have let her in. I shouldn't do this ever again if I live. And I think finally he has that moment of realization of how much she actually means to him.
Yeah.
And then in that moment where she's about to go, he finally just asks her to stay. And I think as readers, we all just had that moment of relief.
Yes. Like, good job, Darrow. You
finally,
did the
you
thing.
Absolute moron.
Only took a book and a half.
Seriously.
Yeah. Well, and this time he wasn't looking at his hands, so
he put the other loves of his life out of his brain.
Yeah. They were probably wrapped in bandages, so
he couldn't see him at all.
Actually, for sure they were. At least one of them, because he pulled the razor out of Karnas by the sharp end.
That's true. All right, one down. That's it. So he just needs to be distracted away from his hands enough to focus on the pretty girl. Got it. Okay, cool.
I don't know, like, bed versus I mean, this is also Darrow we're talking about, so.
Yeah. But and then we do. So the interesting thing to me, though, in this whole thing is, so in this, she kind of fills him in on what's happening, where things are, and like, my thing is, for where this all chapter ends, who's been in the room? So we've learned that Severo pretty much never leaves.
Yeah.
Mustang's almost always there, and Roke's almost always there. That Roke's been sitting there a whole bunch, which is huge.
Right.
Which we can focus on that in a second, but that, when they then end up fading to Obsidian, nobody locks the door. Like, to me, I'm like, all these people have just been in and out, and the two of you are just so confident. Like, that's the thing to me, that, like, reading it through this time, I was like, you just keep talking about everybody coming in and out of this room, and we're just, okay, you're confident in yourself, and I like it.
I mean, have you not done that, though?
I feel like I'm very, like...
Anyway. Sometimes you just gotta get it done.
Yeah.
They know. They all know what's happening.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like, okay, if you think about, like, if you ever lived with friends in college and any of you ever brought somebody over, you all know what is happening.
Yes, that is fair. That it is just like, don't.
Just don't.
Now is not the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just funny to me that I'm like, did you not think that at any moment someone's walking in? Nope.
Well, and then you think about, like, you hear these stories about people getting it on in the hospital and their heart rate monitor going off. And the nurses all come rushing in. It's like, oh.
Darrow can control his heart. What does it sit at? He's fine.
Do you think he's going to control his heart when he's doing the dirty? Like, no.
With the Mustang?
With Mustang. Come on. Thinking about his hands. He's thinking about Mustang.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So I think that would be hilarious. Just the heart rate monitors all start going off and people come rushing in. It's like, oh.
Like, no.
I mean, like,
guys. Yeah, it took you long enough, but...
At least put a sock on the door.
Yeah.
Or a bridle.
Wow.
Sorry, guys, I killed Salem.
Yep. Podcast over.
Good job.
That was Fade to Obsidian. Yeah, we do get slightly more graphic this time. We get to learn that she pretty much pushes herself on him, which, like, you get it, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incorrect.
And then he just rips her clothes in half.
Yes!
Like they're paper.
Like wet paper?
Yeah.
He just...
Also, how mad would you be if somebody, like, without any warning, just ripped your clothes off?
I know. Like, excuse me. I liked that
Depends
shirt.
on the context.
Exactly.
Yeah, what is she wearing? That's it. Maybe she's just in, like, kicking around in whatever t-shirt she wanted to wear that day. But, like, yeah, like,
she stole a pair of scrubs
depending on what it is,
because her clothes were dirty.
So maybe that would make sense. They would be like paper.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. But yeah, depending on the shirt, I'd be mad. I'm like, I wanted to wear that again. Yeah. It can come up over my head. Like, there's other ways. No, he just needs to prove how strong he is. Which does mean that I think both of his hands are... Yeah, I was going to say that does mean both his hands are working, unless he's like magic.
Who knows? Who knows? Well, okay, with Carver's, who's to say that his hand wasn't ready to go after ripping the sword out?
That's true.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and he had been...
It was like a week,
in a coma for like a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got the chapter we were all waiting for.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting thing that Pierce has said this is not their first time. He claims they have had sex between the Institute and the Academy.
Oh, yeah.
But it doesn't read that way to me. Because he says something about how he has been waiting for this pretty much since EO. But is that just because you get the true passion and they haven't had, like,
probably
deep dive into...
Probably. I mean, it could be, because who's to say what happened at the Institute? Like, there was a fade to black moment there.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, who's to say that wasn't the only time?
Yeah.
And, because they were together between the Institute and the Academy.
And that's where Pierce has said that that's when they've had sex, is between
which would
the
make
two.
sense.
Yes,
which would totally make sense, because because Darrow gifted her the horse ring.
Yeah.
Before he went to the Academy. So I would not be surprised. And I think that's probably why it hurts so much for them to almost break all contact. Like, he probably figured she was going to be waiting for him, and she had her own plan, and then, like, devoted herself to Cassius.
Yeah.
But also, like, that's where I feel like this is weird. And maybe it's more of a point of view from Darrow that maybe Mustang wasn't completely, like, upfront about saying, hey, we're done. I have these things I have to do.
Yeah.
Because, like, that would be like your boyfriend going to college and you staying at home, and you guys don't really communicate because, like, something's happening, and then all of a sudden you're dating somebody else.
Yeah. It's almost the Ross... the two things that popped in my head, pop culture-wise, are the Ross and Rachel, we were on a break.
Yeah.
And the scene in Bring It On, where she's still in high school and goes to visit her college boyfriend, and he's sleeping with somebody else in the dorm. Those are things that in my mind was like, yep.
Like, okay.
You're missing some communication here of what stage are we on in this?
Yeah.
And now we've tried to patch it up multiple times. I would say Mustang tried to patch it up multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
And
they
finally
put the flex seal on it.
Yeah.
Well, Pam.
Yeah.
Gotta plug that hole.
Finally, Darrow's.
Yeah.
Well.
You've been hanging out in comms too much, dude.
Rose Garden, maybe.
Oh, that's where you've been hiding. Okay.
Oh, wondered. Yeah. Well, we get to go directly from that. Then they
from Mustang
walk
to
out.
Rogue.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Which, like, has a whole bunch of them kicking around, because we get the Carpenter joke, in which, like, they're all there. Yeah.
Yeah.
How are we feeling about Rogue right now?
Okay. I gotta give it to Rogue on this one. That joke is solid.
You are Daxo on this, aren't you?
Yep.
Okay,
he just
I
absolutely dies.
Forgot about this joke. So literally, I was yelling at the book, like, waiting for him to, like, reveal what it was. Krista, do you want to just read the joke? Or say it?
Who was the first
I feel like
Carpenter?
you'd say better.
It's Eve. Because she made Adam's banana stand.
I won't lie, I was behind in my reading for the den, and so I think it somehow, I don't know if it was one of your questions, but, like, I ended up, or somebody answered or something, but it came up in the read along, and I was like, I forget this joke. Like, never mind the fact that it's a complete part of the chapter. Like, I forgot it. So I Googled it and ruined it for myself ahead of time, because, like, there's, like, a whole Reddit devoted to that joke. But Yeah, because I was like, what are they on about? I don't remember a carpenter joke. And like, I was like,
I really appreciate the fact that everybody's like, no, Roke sucks too much for this joke to be funny.
Yeah.
Literally
It's like,
every
it's
single
a
person in
history
that
joke,
room.
right? It's like,
No.
You people are all me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, Roke, you're not funny. And then
No.
fuck, it turns out he is.
The one time.
The one redeeming quality just before the end.
Yep.
Which someone in out of context, and I didn't pull it, but someone in out of context brought up that this is kind of one of the last. It's the real connection we see to Roke being Judas. That you can go through the books and like see like the kiss on each cheek, like he goes through, and then this joke has them saying like, "Is it Jesus?" Which really like almost drives home like there is biblical imagery in all of this, and he is Judas, which we don't quite see yet, but we get the conversation, which it's very clear how upset with Darrow he is, and that like their relationship is pretty much done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which makes me kind of curious as to, because Mustang does say that Roke does go and see him quite a bit while he's unconscious. It just makes me wonder what his motive was. Like, why, if you are so frustrated with this person, why are you going to see them? Like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. But yeah, no, you bring up a good point of, well, and we talked about on a like on the Tactus podcast of like, why was Roke so devoted to Tactus when he watched him screw them all over?
Right.
And then, right? Like, so it's almost like Roke he needs a therapist.
Yeah.
I would say to process some emotions because he doesn't seem to naturally understand.
But I think he's the kind of person that doesn't think he needs a therapist.
Oh, he 100% would like, no, I am fine.
Yeah.
I have no childhood trauma. I am okay. But he clearly he fights with his own emotions through a lot of this and like not understanding. Like, yeah, you end up taking the side of your girlfriend's killer. You end up like Tactus screwed you all over, and then you're more remorseful for that than any like it just
yeah. I feel like there's a lot of weird mixed emotions in there, even just with the fact that like Darrow pushed him away and everything, but he's so, I don't know how to put it. So I think probably one of the bigger parts that was a little intriguing for me, I can't remember if it was in this portion, this last quarter, or the quarter before this, when they meet with the Telemanuses and they're all upset that Victra's there. And they're all trying to be like, Victra shouldn't be here in this room. We don't trust her. Her family sucks, pretty much. But then Roke literally kind of chimes in and he's like, well, I'm here, but all of my family is notorious liars. Like, why do you trust me? And then you really start to kind of question, why was Roke even in House Mars?
Yeah.
And so I think he has his own kind of rage, which we do start to see, that really starts to show when you get on his bad side, he burns bridges.
Yeah.
The anger of a quiet man.
Yes. Yes.
This conversation is actually the first time we see Roke refer to the friendship in a past tense as well.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So he said, I didn't mind that it was always about you, Darrow. That was what burned Tactus, but not me. I'm not in love with you like Mustang. I don't worship you like Severo or the Howlers. I was a true friend. Not I am a true friend. Because the other one, they're in first person. Or like they're in, present tense.
Yeah. He's already given up on him at this point.
Yeah.
And
which is also kind of a burn to Severo of I was the true friend. Severo worships you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you are.
Yeah, like, no, Severo's the true friend.
How self-centered do you have to be like, I was your true friend? Like, I was your best friend? And it's like, no, not if you're going to say it like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like when you have, I feel like there's a stage when you're, I don't know, 14 or 15 and your best friend can't have a best friend. Like, you are the best friend. And if they talk
your
to
best friend
someone
has
too
to
much,
be
like,
your best friend as well.
Exactly. Like, that's what this
Or you
feels
have to
like.
be
Like,
your best friend's best friend.
Yeah.
like it was us.
Yeah.
It wasn't them. It was us. Like, oh,
It's
was
so
it?
catty. It's so dumb.
Yeah. Yeah.
Roke being
Yeah.
catty and dumb?
Okay, so now I'm thinking about it. Roke is the pick-me girl.
He totally
Scarlet
is.
is
I'm
gonna
like the other.
shit
I'm
when she
not like
comes
them.
on.
Oh, that is
Scarlet, don't leave the den because of that, please.
wow. Wow. Yeah. No, but you're not wrong.
Not wrong. Yeah. Like, I say it and I realize I'm not wrong. And it's sad. Like, it's also sad in the regard that Roke has tried so hard to be Darrow's friend, but Darrow just keeps pushing him away.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's like literally just timing or if it's more of maybe synonymous with that idea of you kind of lose those first friendships that you really make sometimes. Yeah. Like, and that kind of goes back to like Nero in the beginning being like, well, you made these friends at the Institute. Like, they're not going to stick around forever.
Right.
And there are some that will. And I think we all kind of go through those stages in life. And it's,
oh, absolutely.
I think in this portion and just with the way that this story plays out, it's just a more elevated version of what we all experience in life, which sucks. Yeah. And it just sucks that they all have political power.
Yeah, make a mess that there's real consequences to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that they, can launch an armada against each other if they wish.
Because they're mad.
That's a scary thought. Like, well, it goes back to what we were saying earlier of 20-year-olds suddenly, instead of like, I'm not talking to you, it's I'm going to launch an armada.
Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to take your spaceship.
Yeah.
And if it's Roke, there's not much you can do to stop him.
No.
He's good
Nelson reincarnate. Ugh. Though, to be fair, never mind. We're cutting out what I just said because that is going to be Morning Stars. Would someone write that down for when I remember it later? Okay. I'm writing that one down. Anyway.
You need to write that down, dude.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have paper right here, but that one's on you.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's just say, so I went to Nelson High School, so I know a little bit too much about Nelson, and that now, thinking about it, is foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I wouldn't have thought about that. There's so much foreshadowing in all of this.
There's so much.
Like, dude, I think that's the thing that I really like about this reread is I'm really picking up on it this time because I'm looking for questions to ask for question of the day. And it's killing me to not ask these questions about foreshadowing because I know what's going to come.
I can't wait for our full spoilers reread after.
It's going to be so good.
Oh my god.
Well, you saw the reel I had to put up for this week's Out of Context where they they could not. Yeah, well, you got the DM of like, I cannot control them anymore because they just, every single thing was like, well, in this and in this. And we had someone in the out of context that has not read past Morningstar. So it was really a like,
wait, who?
do brackets.
Oh, yeah, she did talk about that. Okay.
Yeah, so they were good about, but it's because I just kept going, no, and they at least were good. Most of them would moderate the other ones of like, oh, but because this is the end of Golden Sun, then you can spoil just a little bit gets into Morningstar, and I was like, that's a different book, guys. That's not 2 chapters later. It's a different book. Like, we're not. So yeah, it's a difficult thing to try and read all of these when we have so much information in our heads that like,
yeah.
I'm excited for us to just come on and go, okay, so
we're gonna talk about it.
let me tell you about Lord Nelson. Yeah. But back to Roke.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah.
So
we're just gonna cut that whole section, right?
Yeah, we can get rid of all of it.
Good.
Is there really anything else to talk about Roke? Because I feel like they don't
No.
really ever get much of a like after that. There's not much because Darrow tries to talk to Roke.
Yeah, well,
And
that's where Roke says friendships take minutes to make, moments to break, and years to rebuild.
Yes.
And it's like, are we gonna get years?
Well, and even then, like, what is, because Roke is such the poet, like, is there even, do you think in his mind that he is going to allow Darrow try to rebuild this relationship? Like, or is he more saying that to save face?
Like, at this point, he's done and gone.
He's done.
Like,
yeah,
he's been done.
Yeah.
But they kind of so their conversation gets cut off because Severo then comes running in, being like, "We have an emergency."
Yeah.
Because the jackal has the sons of Ares.
Yeah, the only 3 that matter.
That's it.
Yeah,
I was
the
like,
only
there's
one.
no one else.
We don't know about anybody else. Okay, but that's also based off of how much Darrow knows, and then yet nobody tells Darrow anything. So
true.
Darrow's just shooting in the dark.
This is true. But I just like, it's like the pink, the violet, the red, as if those are the only 3 in all of Sons of Ares. Yet they've somehow gone to Venus at this point, but it's the 3 that matter. Yeah. We get to go to the jackal's estate. Victor just hanging out there trying to ski. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Victor's just like,
they
there,
still
like,
ski.
You want to go
That's
skiing?
Neat.
No snowboarding, though. What's your opinion on that one, Crescent? That there's no
Disagree.
snowboarding, there's only skiing.
Well, at least in high society.
You don't need to just sit on the ground. I will fight you on this.
Hey, man. It's not my fault you need to be lame to have fun.
What? I gotta go fast, man. I can just...
Yeah.
Not me thinking about buying skis while I was snowboarding this year. I was the only one of my friends that was snowboarding.
So they had to wait for you the whole time to put your bindings on?
Only briefly.
I mean, some people don't necessarily always bind the 1 foot, so...
I can't say anything in this. I've gone snowboarding 3 times in my life and probably nearly died all 3 times. And skiing once.
The whole point.
But I was really good at skiing.
At least, Crescent, when you snowboard, you don't have to worry about your skis popping off and then having to go chase your skis.
That's true.
That is a terrifying thought.
It's so bad. I have wiped out so many times, and then my ski just goes boop. And then I'm like, okay, well, it's going down the mountain.
So what, you have to just 1 foot ski down the...
Yep.
Yeah. Or you take the one off and then you walk down and go get it.
Wow.
Or you boot ski.
All right.
What?
This is why I.
Or you
This
boot
is why
ski.
I boot ski.
Oh yeah, you could boot
Oh.
ski. Yeah, you just
Not
kind of
anymore though.
slide.
They've with grip walk.
Oh yeah. Okay. Anyways,
This is why I
Tangents.
summer sports and not winter sports. I wonder what Victor's opinion on all of this is.
I'm just
Okay,
I'm
this
just thinking
question.
like how wild of skiers would they be? It's like they're
Oh
like
yeah.
beyond peak human. It's like Jesus Christ.
Like, how fast do you think they go? Like,
Well, the speed isn't the thing though.
yeah.
Because like,
Or is it the finesse?
I think it's just like the feats of athleticism they would be capable of. Because like going fast doesn't
like
take skill,
dropping
really.
thing. Are they going to do the thing where you just like go off a cliff and then?
Oh, do the backcountry.
My cousin does that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that.
Because like
I can see that.
Well, they're in
where like
1/3
instead
grav
of
too.
yeah, and like I'm just thinking that instead of like you can now at this point probably go to the top of a mountain. You're not reliant necessarily on chairlifts, but you can do what
Well,
like
I mean,
you know
you
how
can do
people
that. You can do that
helicopter
now.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a
Yeah,
helicopter. Like I'm just
heli-ski
picturing
or
that.
cat ski.
Yeah.
Well, and also they're all gold, so like they have literally everything at their disposal. So
Yep.
they could heli-ski. They
Yeah.
could just have grav boots that are lightweight enough
just have
that they can
grav
throw in a
ski boots.
backpack. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Futuristic ski resorts, people.
I will still be in the chalet. Thank you. See you there.
Getting a little pre-après.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then we get Darrow giving the gifts to Adrius and Victra.
Yes.
Yep. I forget
And
what the jackal gets.
He gets a jackal standard.
Oh,
and he's
that's
like,
right.
this is the first time somebody's gotten me something that's not lions.
Yeah. And that he thinks is actually cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does Victor
And
get?
then
The rage?
the bottle of
petrichor.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which she is also very excited about.
Yep.
Yeah. Good gift giver.
And rightly
good
so.
Job, Darrow.
Good smell.
Was it Darrow who did it, or do we think Theodora is working in the background and actually did it? And
no, because Darrow talks about all the time, like, it's important to know the people who work for you, basically.
Yeah.
And I think he kind of learned that from the Institute, where he's like, if I don't pay attention to these people, they're not going to follow me. And then in turn, he's just made friends.
Yeah.
Yep. Fair.
Yeah. So he's a good gift giver.
Good job, Darrow.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Mustang's got her ring. Mm-hmm. Do we know if he's given anything to Severo other than an eyeball?
That was Mustang.
He didn't. I was gonna say he didn't even really give the, and I don't even think Mustang gets to give the eyeball. She let him pick it up off the floor. Yeah. I don't know if that counts as gift giving.
I don't know. To Severo, it probably counts.
Severo, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. In Severo's eyes.
Truly, in Severo's eyes.
Eyeballs.
Yeah, Severo's probably got a whole bunch of knives from Darrow, just like every time.
That's
like,
true.
and here's a new knife, and here's a new knife.
Mm-hmm. He probably has like given him so many little wolf knickknacks that he's just put on a shelf somewhere.
Yeah, like the little granite wolf that Dram sent me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see Severo being a collector.
You're a real one for that. I don't even know if Dram watches this, but shout out anyway.
Didn't it get stuck in customs twice trying to get to you?
No, UPS just said they couldn't deliver it to me. Or
FedEx.
FedEx said, like,
oh yeah,
we won't deliver, like, we can't deliver that. And we were talking. It's
how did you get it?
She sent it UPS, And she's like, do you live like out in the boonies somewhere? And I'm like, no, I live in the biggest city in my province. And I used to work for FedEx in my city. It's like...
That's probably why. They're like, oh, it's
they
you.
banned him.
You don't get your packages.
Fuck that guy.
I was going to make a snide joke about how you are the most like underpopulated province, but you're still...
You're not wrong.
Well, PEI,
just an asshole.
And then you guys. Yeah. And from Toronto, we're just assholes. It's fine. Anyway, back to Darrow's gift giving.
Yeah, so we get
Canadian gifts.
Darrow did some good gift giving.
Yeah.
To people. And then literally every single person has warned Darrow not to make friends with the jackal. Literally everybody. And what is he doing? He's giving the jackal gifts.
Yep.
Like,
which,
at this point,
like,
do we
you can I mean, it's kind of shitty, but you can give gifts to somebody without like actually having them be your friend.
Oh, totally.
And you can give a really good gift without somebody being your friend.
True.
It's like a...
But like,
unfortunately, a really good manipulation tactic.
Emotional manipulation. We know my opinion.
Yeah.
But it's not like the point is like he's doing that to try and get on the jackal's good side, or does he actually think like, oh, maybe they're all wrong?
Yeah, because we don't know whether or not at this point he is still trusting the jackal to full capacity, or if it's
or has he ever?
Yeah, well, like he tells the Telemanises, like, I don't trust him, and then he tells Mustang, like, I don't trust him. She's like, no, you don't need him.
Yeah. Like, he's going to do some shit.
Yeah. And that's, I think, the difference is Mustang's like, don't even tell him anything. Like, don't keep him around, essentially, is what he really needs to hear. It's not like, don't trust him. It's don't let him in the room.
Yeah.
And I think that is all chalked up to... Yeah. Well, and I think that's all chalked up to, like, Darrow just not paying attention enough, and people just need to be blunt to him, and nobody's blunt to him about anything.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's the only reason he knows that Victra's into him.
Yeah. Well, and at the same time, like, is Darrow even going to listen to you if you tell him not to do?
Yeah. He's like Ransom trying to go to bed. You have to use reverse psychology. Shout out to Ransom on this one.
Everybody's getting a shout out.
My water. Ransom, go to bed.
Yeah.
And then we get the Sunsberries infiltrating.
Yes. And it's all a grand ruse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We find out how they got past the scanners, just hanging on the belly of Darrow's ship. And like, honestly, pretty convincing.
Yeah.
Like, pretty convincing ruse, I would say.
Oh, yeah. Well, and like when Darrow just literally takes out one of the dudes, he's just like trying to pretend to protect all of the people in the room from whatever's happening. And he just like, no, I'll convince you. It's fine. And then really he's just in on the whole big plan.
The whole thing.
The whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. Which then we get we get Dancer is back.
Mm-hmm. Dancer's not dead.
Dancer's not alive. Dead. We get a good hug from Dancer. Mickey
we did know that Dancer wasn't dead.
We did know that because he's who went to Severo.
Yes, that's true. Okay.
But we finally get to actually see him.
See him, yeah.
We get Mickey.
Reunion,
yeah. We get Mickey being very finally apologetic of, I'm sorry for what I did to everybody. We don't see Evie, do we?
I don't think so. I think they said she's on a mission somewhere. Or she's somewhere else.
Yeah. We don't see her.
Yeah, because it's only guys in the room. Because Severo says, "Let's tell sexist jokes."
Oh, classic.
Yeah, so then we don't have Harmony there as well either.
Yeah.
But do we think, because it said that there was the violet, the red, and the pink, so we assume that it was Harmony and Evie, do we not?
It was Harmony, Evie, and
Mickey.
Mm-hmm.
So who do you think's... Oh, wow, we can get to... Never mind, I'll ask this question at the end.
Yeah.
I'll ask this question at the end. Okay. But we don't see the two girls. We only see... Yeah.
Yep.
The other thing too is like Darrow, I think he's kind of consciously trying to bring people closer. Because like Mickey is crying, and he's like, "I tried to warn you when you came to us on Luna. I wanted to say to run, but she would have killed me if I said any more. I was afraid you would believe her over me." And he was like, "I would have believed you, Mickey." And I think that's him consciously being like, you know, I gotta start letting people in.
Yeah. I think after he had that near-death experience, he's realized that that's the way he's going is not the way to go.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because at this point, he's lived a very lonely life for the last 4 years. Yeah. Like, as much as Severo is around, he only told Severo his big secret, let's say 2 or 3 months ago at this point.
And even then, he didn't tell him.
No, that's it. It got told for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
and
only
told Ragnar, but that's it.
Yeah, like it's a very lonely existence that you're
and
not.
I think when he sees Dancer, he and Mickey and everybody, he just has that sense of relief too, where he's just like, oh my God, I have people again that actually know who I am and what I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I just read the quote, and where'd it go? So yeah, he has his little interaction with Mickey. He has, you know, hugged Dancer till his back cracks. And he says, "This is the man I'd rather be, not constantly on guard, not lying through my teeth."
Mm-hmm. Which at that point he decides that he wants to tell Mustang.
Yeah, because pretty much everybody in the scene is like, the fuck you are. Like, you've already got her, like, she's in love with you, you absolute fuck.
But also, I understand from their point of view where they're just like,
oh, for sure,
you really want to do that? But then from Darrow's point of view, it's like, okay, well, if I love her, I want to tell her everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I get both sides where you're just like, oh my God, don't tell her now. But at the same time, it's also like, okay, why not tell her now?
Yeah, and he says, like, if Mustang can't change, like, it's all fucked.
Yeah.
Like, we're done here. Like, if Mustang can't change, nobody can.
Yeah.
And there's no point.
Yeah.
Which, especially because she's done the research. That's not just him, you know, slowly making her fall in love with him, or not so slowly. But she's the one who, like, she's clearly already on that track of mind. And like,
she
what's
has
happening?
been almost from the beginning. Like, she literally has been on that from the beginning because she hummed Eo's song, and then she now did research on Luna. That was the whole reason she went there, is so that she could publish these articles on, like, sociological standards and why they're even there. So she's definitely finding ways to break the trend. But without her support, yeah, totally. Like, if you can't have somebody like that turn to your side, then what's the point?
Yeah.
One, like, her even says, like, while they're at the Institute, like, Mustang's plan is Eo's dream.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you don't have people in servitude to you, you have people in partnership to you.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just...
Yeah, so it made sense to me of why you would tell her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, and we'll get into this in a moment, I don't necessarily agree with how he did it, but...
No, I think we talked about that a lot in the den. I don't think any of us did.
No.
Typical Darrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good thought through execution.
Yeah. Because what we get to see is him go home first. So even before he tells her, we get the heart-wrenching. Okay, well, not even the heart-wrenching. We get him hanging out with the Greys and pushing
like,
around
oh.
Ugly Dan.
Yeah.
And I think
he
at this
finally
point
comes full circle.
Yeah, at this point he's got, he still clearly hates the Greys, but I think understands of, like, they're just doing their job almost, like.
Yeah. Well,
but then he lays it into the copper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The copper does not.
Well, yeah, the copper is trying to, like, impress him so much with his
Special
Soto cheese. And it's like, you're not you're not part of high society. Like, you are not the Marco Polo. Like, you are
you're literally below ground, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and he's he talks about going to like a hotel, and Darrow's like, no, it's probably a whorehouse on the edge of the taiga. Like,
he is rough.
Yeah,
I thought it was interesting too how Darrow's perspective changed versus how he saw them all as a red, and then now he goes back and he's like, oh, you're not that scary. Like, you were a poor sad little man.
Yeah
I mean, to be fair, like, he went from, like, mid 5 foot, like, he went from Salem size to 7 feet tall. Yeah, I can see why these people wouldn't be so scary, and he's the god of war incarnate, basically.
Yeah. But we also get this chapter actually kicks off with him in the garden, and what would have been them groping in the grass, and then the grave. And you get that. Well, and he says, like, she's not actually there. I know they would have dug her up. Like, you get that kind of sad. So you understand that then he's talking to this copper and laying it into him, because he's going through a lot of emotions like this. Like,
I think the nice thing is that Eo's grave is now, like, just a bunch of Hemanthus flowers.
Yeah.
And he was like, I would think it a sign or whatever if I didn't bury
one with her,
a flower bud with her.
Yeah.
Still, it's kind of nice.
Yeah. It's a little call to her.
Mm-hmm.
And
and
I think
like, I kind of came here for her blessing, but she's not here anymore.
No. And it's almost like he finally has that realization that she's not around. Like, he's kind of held her, like, close this entire time, but him finally going back and seeing, he's really realizing, like, no, she really is gone. Like, he's finally going through those moments of grief, like, towards the end of acceptance.
Which will be interesting, I feel like, during Morningstar. Now that you're saying that, I feel like I need to read through in that perspective, because everything he's done leading to this point, especially around Mustang, our Fade to Obsidian moment this time around, where he's finally letting Mustang in. He says, I haven't had this type of, like, I didn't think I could have this again since EO died. So he's still even in that moment, even though it's like, hey, I no longer have the guilt, but I'm still in that little instance thinking of her. It'll be interesting to read through Morningstar and go, is he still thinking that, or can he now have a relationship? If they have a relationship in Morningstar, if Darrow's alive after Golden Sun, who knows what's happening? But is he still reflecting back? If he's alive and if he has a different girlfriend, who knows? Who knows who he's with?
Maybe it's Victra. Who knows?
Wouldn't she like that?
Yep.
She sure would.
I will now use, we were debating on whether or not to bring up the survey results, and one of the survey results was, where is it? I read it out earlier. If Victra and Darrow had gotten together, they would have conquered the solar system in only 3 books.
I mean, you're not wrong.
But yeah, who knows what's happening in Morningstar? But yeah, it's interesting to see, because he definitely this whole time has been carrying her with, like, EO with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we had, one's yawning, one's sneezing, one's happening.
It's springtime. I can't help it.
Yeah, I feel
Must
that.
be nice.
Yeah.
Still winter in Saskatoon.
Snowed yesterday.
Oh no!
And like, yeah.
You choose to live there.
Yeah.
Not for that much longer.
Oh. But we go from there. He goes to the tavern and he gets to watch all the Reds and pretend he is just
He gives back to the Reds. He lets
he gives them the feast.
Open the rations. Do it up.
Yeah.
He brought the special ones too.
Yeah.
Like, he brought the good stuff.
He brought the good stuff.
Which, when I was reading it, like, that was kind of odd to think about, that these Reds probably have not had some of the things that he brought. Like,
well, especially the ones that aren't Gamma.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even then, it kind of sounded like he was bringing stuff that maybe none of them had, like, different kinds of sweets. And it, like, how, like, just in the grand scheme of things, like, for me, I am such a person that likes flavor. If I were then to have something like that and then have to go back to the same food every day, I would be so upset. Like, I'd be happy for that moment that I got to experience it, but then everything else just would not match.
It wouldn't,
Yeah, everything else is gray from now on.
Yeah.
I was going to comment of, like, so we see at the beginning of Red Rising that them seeing a gold is this shocking kind of a thing. Like, the golds don't come here. And then we have in this scene, we get the kind of the vibe that Darrow and then eventually Mustang are just kind of like hanging out watching. Like, I just feel that if I was a Red, it would be like that moment where you're like, they're like, I don't know, some rich or celebrity or whoever is there, and you're like, I'm just supposed to act normal? Like, what? Like,
yeah.
Well, I mean, Darrow isn't like there, right? Like, he's sitting up in the can, kind of like watching this go on.
I don't know why.
Well, and at that point, they probably still, because he still technically had an alliance to Augustus. And so he was in there representing Augustus. So it wasn't, like, out of context for him to be there.
Oh, for sure. I just feel like it'd be awkward of, like...
Oh, yeah. That'd be like having, like, some sort of political leader come and watch you eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a cafeteria. Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. It's weird. But he's also not, like, sitting there like this, just, like, watching. He's sitting like way above so nobody can see him watching.
Okay. That puts a better perspective on it.
Yeah.
Because I just kept, I don't know why I missed that point, and I read it and I was like, you're just, okay. Like,
just hanging out.
The other thing for me that's kind of weird is like, is nobody asking questions like, why are you taking a feast to this one random mine?
Well, Mustang says. Mustang's the one who is like, why are we here?
Yeah, when she comes back in the picture.
Yeah, and his response is, oh, this is the mine where the girl sang the song. Like, and he can just, and then she almost like, and like he gives it, like they've had a rough few years. Like, whatever. And she just like, okay, kind of like, I guess. But she's the one who's like, why the hell are we here? Like, what is happening?
Which then takes us to why they were there.
Yep.
And which I thought was an interesting point that he, like, that Pierce paints, is that Darrow even points out, he's like, I'm not using my grab boots to get through any of these places. Like, I am too big for this stuff, but I am going to go on foot. And he takes Mustang on foot after it gets dark to visit his home.
Yeah. But then she never gets to go inside because he just hands her a hollow cube and says, this is everything. And she gets to go through it on her own.
She could have gone inside.
She could have.
It's not she doesn't get to. She chooses not to.
Okay, yes, but why would you? Why would you?
Okay, there's a lot of stuff happening with this, though.
I super agree with you, but it's not she doesn't get to.
Yes.
She just doesn't.
You are correct. Okay,
at that point, too, like, a few things would be going through everything that's happening. She literally just watched all of this happen on a holocube, and then she realizes where they are and realizes that this is his home. Me personally, as a person, like, it might be different for other people. I would realize, oh my God, he hasn't seen his family since this happened. I'm going to give them space.
Yeah.
Don't invite me in. I don't know your family. You haven't had this reunion in almost 4 years. Like, I'm going to let you.
I don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Well, and
as much as, not even like the reunion, but like, quite frankly, if it's like how much just hit her, and then like you expect me, instead of having a conversation about that, to go meet your mom, like, can we at least have a conversation about me meeting your mom?
That's a really really poor way to handle that. And it's like, before he even gives her the holocube, it's like he says, like, she can feel what's coming.
Yeah, she's smart.
And then he gives her the holocube, and it's like, deuces.
Yeah.
And I think that was the big discussion that we had in the den, was that it would have gone over so much smoother if he had given her the holocube and watched it with her. So that she could then, at these crazy moments, turn to him and literally look at him and be like, this is really you. Like, this is really what happened to you.
Yeah.
But yet she has to do it all on her own.
Yeah.
And then, process those emotions, have whatever she, knows overthrown. Because as much as we think she at this point agrees with it, it's still a nature versus nurture, like, you're raised in one society, taught another, like.
Well, and this is also highly illegal. Like, the fact that he is changing color, not only from red to gold, but just changing color in general, that is so illegal. And that's, like, that was, or he got his license revoked. And, like, sorry, that was Morningstar spoilers. You can take that out. I started reading.
I'm just going to bleep it. I'm just going to bleep it.
Just bleep it. It's fine.
Salem, I'm in the middle of Dark Age right now.
Oh my God, you people. I refuse until I finish an episode.
Stop. I realized you said that you had stopped. I was like, oh, that is probably the best idea. And I stopped. I haven't read in a couple days, but It's still red.
To be fair, you have to read ahead so you can create, because the den questions are going in.
That's true.
You have to create those. I have to just do this so that it's one of those. True. I'm like, don't read ahead. And now so Morningstar will be easier on our recording schedule. It gives us more time than this like 2-day turnaround we've been doing. So I can actually, like, tomorrow I will start and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So last week we had a really long, like, we recorded.
You guys recorded for like 3 hours. Like, every time I went to look, it literally was, you were still talking.
You were still in here. Yeah.
Like, I don't know how long that, I haven't watched or listened to that one.
3 hours.
I don't even know how long it is. Is it
No, it's 2:23.
2:23. Oh, yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
It's our longest.
But yeah, like, we recorded Saturday, and then it came out the Wednesday following.
Right.
And now we're 9 days past recording the next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this one I can finally...
It's fine. Okay, anyway. So that was a really large discussion that we had in the den, was that it was not handled very well, and we all were pretty much on the same page. Like, it's okay that he didn't tell her outright. Like, I don't think that would have ended very well if he literally was just like, oh yeah, I used to live here. And then, like, let them have that conversation. I don't think that would have ended well. She probably would have gotten so angry with him of like, oh my God, they did this to you and they changed you. But I think probably, I have a feeling it, like, I don't think he outright says it, but is it kind of the same video that Severo probably watched?
That's our assumption.
Almost guaranteed.
Yeah.
Because it's the video of his carving.
Yeah.
And we know Severo watched the video of his carving. So we have to assume that it's, if not exactly the same, it's like extremely similar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And based on the fact that they both came from the same place.
Right.
You know, it's probably, if not cut identically, it's functionally identical.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So then, I mean, at that point, I feel like viewing it rather than having him explain it would have been better. But if he was at least there, it would have worked out so much.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. I just think he needs to be there for follow-up questions.
Yeah.
Like...
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. In my mind, don't even do it in Lycos. Do it on the ship. And then say, I am going. Would you like to come? After we've had whatever discussion, which maybe she's fled either way. Like, she could have just fled either way. But if she's going to stick around, then it's like, okay, now do you want to come? Like, having it outside the house.
I do like the fact that he gave her the out. Like, he gave her the possibility of, like, hey, I understand that this is a lot, and this is something that's kind of frowned upon. I understand if you don't want to stick around.
100%. I got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah, in the manner he does it, I would have left if I was her. You're like, I'm not. No.
Yeah.
Like. But we do. Sorry, go on.
Oh, no, you're good.
I was going to say, like, so we leave her watching the Hollow Cube, and he gets to go in and see his mom, which is, I think, the sweetest reunion.
I'm listening for the first time, and even just the way that the way that it's spoken reminded me of so many things that my mom says. And like the connotations that she has, and just the kind of snarkiness.
Yeah.
And so I listened to it thinking of my mom, and I think that's what made me way more emotional about it. Just kind of like, after all that time, you finally get to see your parent. And even like he says, it's like a mother probably could never forget her child, no matter how much they've changed.
Oh yeah. That's, I think, my favorite part, where she's just like,
it's yes. Like, I would know you anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Because he has that moment of walking up the stairs of like, what the hell am I doing? I'm going to freak her out.
Yeah,
and then he's like...
I am a killer standing in her home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she just like, no, I get it. I know who you are. Like, it's just so... Okay, hold on. Here's we got an out of context for you.
We stand, Mom. Yana Olekos.
Yes.
Mama knows best.
Just like that. We had a whole out of context where we just kept going on about how she's the best.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that's it. She has to go take the kettle off the stove because it's
Yeah,
gonna start boiling over.
Like, and that was like, even in that moment, I was just like, oh my god, just kettle off, like, dude.
There's other people in this house. I was
sitting there waiting for Darrow to just like reach over because, of course, now he's huge. Like, I can imagine he just reaches across the kitchen to take it off, and you're just like, Darrow, just do something. Like, it's not that hard.
Yeah. And then I just think it's adorable of like he can't fit in the chairs, so they end up sitting on the ground.
Yeah, and she's like, "You got a problem with the chairs?" And he says, "No, I think they have a problem with me." Not wrong. I think, like when he's letting her kind of deal with the kettle and not doing it himself, I think he's kind of just like, basically like, don't make any sudden movements.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't want to scare her.
Yeah.
Because, like, obviously he could just be lightning fast Darrow, as always.
Totally.
Yeah.
I don't think it would faze her. Like,
yeah.
I think also in that moment,
I don't think so either, but...
No. Well, and also, I don't think a lot scares her in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
But he also realizes how fragile she is now and how she's had a stroke.
Yeah, she's had a stroke.
Yeah.
And he's really seeing her for the person that she is. And I think that also got me in the feels because I'm starting to realize that now just as a person, like how my parents are aging.
Yeah.
And it's kind of that sad moment of, oh, okay, this is really kind of hitting home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. First, he's getting kind of the realizing your parent is a human.
Yeah.
Like, as a person.
Yes.
And seeing how age is taking its toll on her.
Yeah.
So he's kind of getting the double whammy on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Darrow likes to think he doesn't have emotions, but he very much so has lots of emotions.
He has so many emotions.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I think, the sweetest. We get what's happening in Lake Hose. We get everything. Moment. But yeah. Just the two of them. Which we do find out Neril is missing.
Neril and Lauren died in the deep mines.
Sorry, yes, died. Yeah.
But she doesn't think that they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We find that Kieran is now with Dio.
Yeah.
This out of context.
No.
We tried to.
Oh no! Or is it? Oh, it's his sister, right?
Liana.
No.
What?
This is a conversation that doesn't happen now.
Hey, Skipper of the Future here. So, number one, the gas lit me. This conversation does happen in Golden Sun. This is why I only read the parts at a time. Thank you very much. Secondly, apologies for all the audio issues and Crescent's Discord notifications. Yep. Thank you.
We just see kids come downstairs.
Oh, sorry. No, Kieran and Dio.
Yeah. This is this. Because the kids come down.
No, the kids come down, but I don't think she says who they are.
No.
Oh.
I just got to the point in Morningstar where he goes and he sees Dio for the first time and then realizes that they just had a baby.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it's
okay. It's not
because two kids
that he finds
okay.
out.
No.
So we scrub back.
What?
Sorry. his sister,
Yeah.
we find out about.
Yeah.
Your sister's remarried, lives with her husband in Gamma Township.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, Gamma?
Like, what?
And then he's like, I stop as soon as I see the fresh twist in my mother's mouth. I might wear the trappings of gold, but I better shut the hell up about her daughter. Yep, that's correct.
Yeah.
Do we see come downstairs?
Yeah, this is one of the only times we see Darrow's sister talked about.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah. Like, I think I forget that he has a decent-sized family.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is so put out of context. We were trying to piece them all together and who's with what and what, like, and we were doing that all. And we, I think half of us forgot that he had a sister. And we were like, no, that's got to be a cousin. Like, we all forgot. We were like, there's no sister. And then Eagle Eye thought that Lauren was a brother, and we were getting Lauren and Kieran, and like he's got a decent sized, close knit family.
And
yeah, I think there's the three siblings.
Yeah, the three siblings, which is Darrow's the middle.
I think
the sister's younger.
I don't think
yes,
it
because
specifies
you get married at 14 if you're a female, 16 if you're a man. So if she's just freshly married, then she's younger.
It says she remarried.
Oh, she remarried. Sure, who knows? Everything's up in the air if she's remarried.
I don't know, man. Also, the copper, like thinking about like sister. The Reds and families.
Yeah, your sister is remarried.
Remarried, then who knows? Okay. My theory's out the wall.
Yeah. Well, like the coppers even talk about like how they've like pumped up the hormones so that they breed more.
Right.
Which is ridiculous to think.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah. But
yeah, eugenics on a accelerated timescale.
Yeah. But we do also in this chapter find out, this is when like the assumption is made throughout the book that the Reds are Celtic, Irish based. And it is this chapter where Mustang, I think, goes fully into like why they say bloody, right? Like that is all their slang is reminiscent of the Irish, and that's who's taken over. You know, the original people were taken from Ireland, and so that's where we get like the true connection to Ireland. Crescent's double checking me. I haven't read past this part at this point.
I don't ever hold your guesses or checks as fact until they're facts. But I'm pretty sure it's Dancer talking about it. When
is it Dancer? Boys. Okay, but it's in this part.
Because
it's in this.
It is in this part.
Okay, I was like, I didn't spoil on that one.
No,
I wouldn't have remembered that out of Morningstar.
Yeah, I don't know that. I mean, Mustang knows so much, but I don't know that she would like.
Yeah, she probably doesn't
on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like a Dancer thing. But either way, I just think it's cool that you finally get that confirmation that is where we're coming from.
I like the way that they explain that, like how the connections and stuff. So it makes me really kind of wonder how everything else connected, and just the way that all of the colors even developed in the first place.
Yeah. I would love to know that history. I want to know the conquering and the color divide.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it in this? I can't remember if it's in this portion or the beginning of Morningstar that they talk about like old. Oh, it must be Morningstar because I think we talked about it in Question of the Day. But it was like they were talking about how old Earth and old America was all conquered and taken, and that language has since either morphed or died out. Yeah. Because we were just talking about that yesterday. So
yeah. But yeah, I just really like that kind of historical stuff of like how did we get here? That we're 700 years since the conquering, like,
right?
And who knows from our current time zone, like,
totally
to the conquering, what is that time? But yeah, Pierce, write us that part, please. That would be great.
Give us a backstory on that. I'm sure he already has that written somewhere, to be honest.
He probably, like that's when he gets bored. Like, he's sitting on the plane on, like, a flight when you're out of service. You got nothing else to do.
He's written, like, he said he's written, like, 7 songs for Red Rising, and then, like, all of them got cut.
Yeah. He's the next Tolkien, where he's, like, Tolkien just has all his music in there, and you're like, why? Okay, sure. Like,
I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So I found the Irish, the actual Irish connection, and it says several's as loyal as they come, and Dancer says, no, I mean, he can swear better than any bloody damn red. Several swears. I guess you get used to it. He does like saying bloody a hell of a lot now. It's a fine word, rolls off the tongue, done some research. Been with us since the first ancestors. The first golds, the one with normal eyes and gold uniforms, took most of the early recruits from the poor bastards from the Irish Isles after the radiation from London turned the Isles into a wasteland. And that's in chapter 46.
46.
Interesting.
I want to know about the radiation in London. What caused the radiation in London? Yeah, which we didn't even touch on the fact that Severo is half red.
Yeah.
We didn't even touch on that.
Oh, man.
There's so much in these final chapters.
Man, like, it literally, so much happens in this. But yeah,
honestly, this whole book is just jam-packed.
So much.
Yeah.
So yeah, after we learn that Fitchner is Aries, we get a little backstory on why Fitchner is actually Aries in the first place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more so that it's a personal, I guess you could call it a personal vendetta that Fitchner has against his own kind, his own race, all the Golds. And he pretty much at this point lets everybody know. And several didn't even know until what, like
3 days ago or something.
Days before this, that so Fitchner was married to a red. He fell in love with her when he was it in the mines? Was he doing something in the mines?
He was on Triton.
Terraforming
on Triton.
Yeah. And so he fell in love with her. They came back because of an explosion, I think it was. And because they'd both been in the hospital. And although he had like an okay bed, she had the bed next to the window. And so they ended up, they fell for each other. And despite him being a gold and her being a red, they pretty much ran away together. And that is how we find out that Mickey lost his license because he helped create Severo.
Yeah.
And Severo is half red and half gold.
Yeah. Yay! Which makes so much sense. Like, you read it and you're oh, yeah. Like, but.
Like, he's not pretty and he's short.
Yeah.
Like,
and he just has a chip on his shoulder because he's never fitting in with anyone in Gold Society.
But how can you, like, from Fitchner's standpoint, and I think we kind of talked about this in the den as well, is that from Fitchner's standpoint, you didn't, like, Severo's 20 now, and you didn't tell him for 20 years what he actually is. Like, did you do that for his own safety, or did you do that because you were upset? So his vendetta towards the Golds is that he ended up, somebody found out that Mickey had done this, and they backtracked and found out that it was linked to him. Fitchner was gone with Severo, and they came in and took his wife and killed her.
Yeah.
But they got rid of her before he even had a chance to find out and do anything about it and bury her, if anything.
Yeah.
So
I think part of why he wouldn't tell Severo earlier is probably the same reason he didn't tell Darrow that he was Ares. Like, what? I trust the acting ability of a teenager.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
and
like,
Severo
to a
as
point,
a teenager.
well, exactly. Like, Darrow's one thing, but Severo?
Yeah.
Yep.
No.
Severo's a bit rough around the edges for that, I think.
Yeah. And it could also have been too, like at what point do you think Severo would have been ready to understand that although he was already struggling probably to fit in with everybody, like, you then tell him that he's not even entirely gold, like the kind of just emotional turmoil that he would have gone through.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Though at the same time, it might have also been like, this is why you don't fit in. And he, you know, he might have been,
and he would have understood, but yeah.
Who knows? There's no
Also, he had
therapist in
Fitchner as a
space,
dad.
so.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, Fitchner does also not able to control any emotion, clearly.
No.
No therapist in space.
Nope. Which I think is our leading
it is leader. So we're gonna have to make merch that says there's no therapy in space, because everyone seems to, they loved that before last week's episode came out. Everyone was like, yeah, and then the episode is me entirely yelling it, so we will make it a shirt. But back to where we're actually talking about is, so we are with Mama, and then the child comes down the stairs. Darrow has to ghost cloak, hide himself. Gives the hand squeeze, which I appreciate, of like, bye.
Like, okay, I'm leaving.
Yeah. And then chase after Mustang.
But the other really sweet thing is, while he's ghost cloaked, and his mom is talking to the child, and she's like, just, talking to your uncle, like, oh, Uncle Darrow, but he's dead. She's like, well, he can still hear us. That's why we sing. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
So sweet.
We love her. Yeah.
Immediately
let's go. Yeah. Well, we think Mustang's gone. And
we think Mustang's gone because he put a tracker on her, and then she put it on a ship. She put it on a ship and then sent the ship off some random place. Because she's
like 4 steps ahead of him at all times. And is like, I know you always have a backup plan.
She almost missed Severo putting it on her.
Yep.
Like, so then she shows up out of the shadows.
And
with the wine
she's
of a
little upset.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. And in all honesty, I do think that her reaction was probably okay. Like, in the fact that that's such a big shock.
Yep.
I do feel like it was a little much, though. Like, he literally brought her to a place that he was the most vulnerable, and then she turned around and was nearly threatening his life.
Yeah.
That, I don't know. I am a little conflicted on that in my personal opinion, but
I also agree that it's a little overdramatic. But I get it. If, like, she has a weird, as much as she's not loyal to her family, she is. And so keeps going back of, like, you want to kill us all. And it's like, what? Like, do you actually care? And do you think that's what it is? Like, you've just watched him over how many years now? Like, 4 years they have been building this. Like,
and you just really think that now is the time that he's just going to end it all? Like, no, I don't think so. Like, and then we get Ragnar coming in too. and he kind of helps with that situation. I think
helps.
Really,
I would say slightly hinders.
He almost causes a very large problem.
At the end.
Yes, at the end, but the countdown is a little terrifying of like
he just wants to protect Darrow.
I know. Yeah. I do like that he is taking his independence to heart of like, you gave me independence and therefore I will be one of your advisors. I'm not going to be one of those people who just sits here and goes, oh yeah, I'll be independent when you want me to be independent. Like,
right.
Where
like,
he
that's
says,
not how that works.
like, I was at the river. You screwed up. Like, I'm taking this into my own hands.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you gotta give him kudos. Like, Darrow told him to be independent. But
and he's doing it.
Also, like, calm down.
Yeah. And I think it's also one of those where, like, he's going to follow Darrow to the ends of the earth, planets. But he is, as soon as somebody's pointing a scorcher in his face, like, of course he's going to sit there and defend him. So.
Yeah.
But even then, he kind of catches on at the end where Mustang's just like, really? Like, this is how you tell me and this is what you are? Like, how can I trust you if you haven't told me this whole time?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, this is his moment to tell you. Like, why are you freaking out?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
and then,
has he really had, like, a good chance?
Also, that's such a big secret to keep. Like, why would you just all of a sudden tell that at the Institute? No.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, you're not saying that at the Institute.
Or even, like...
No.
You know, or
Ever.
even between the Institute and the Academy, like...
No. It's... I would say the place he had was...
When they're this is like his first, like, actual opportunity.
Right? Like...
That would ruin that moment, though.
Okay, fine. Not that moment, but... directly at, like, because you have to look of, like,
well, you gotta weigh, like, do I want to get some or do I want to be truthful?
I guess, but there's gotta be like a beat somewhere in between, somewhere again.
You would think
in between going like do it and then go to Lycos. Like, there's times here, guys. We're in somewhat peace at the moment. Like. Anyway. But then we lose her for a little. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the Jackal's like, yeah, let's throw a party.
Fucking hell.
Well, I mean, like, that's...
I don't...
That's tradition. So it wasn't just like, hey, the Jackal's like, yeah, let's throw you a party, buddy.
Yeah. Well, he did say, like... he kind of phrased it that way, but more of like, hey, I've got a media presence. Let's put you on the media and let them all know.
Yeah.
So
I like the, like, I don't know. I the first time I read this chapter, like, as someone who loves history, kind of liked the idea of it, of, like, them going in together. It makes perfect sense that him and Roke, side by side, leading, like, that grandeur, like, again, going back to the Roman and Greek, and even Britain, when it came to them conquering, you know, up until, like, the 1800s, they would have these, like, look what we did. Like, so we go back to Nelson. Like, Nelson had a full, you know, well, never mind. But he had a full party.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I just really like that look about it. So, selling it's like, it makes sense.
Yeah, well, and it's also it's a celebration that you've done it, and it's kind of a, like, you're pulling all of the masses that are left together to celebrate your victory.
It's literally a triumph.
It's a triumph.
You have succeeded. Like, let's celebrate.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it's like it's a traditional ceremony. Like, it's a traditional thing that happens anytime that there's, like, a real victory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it makes perfect sense. And then it all goes wrong. so quickly.
Also, part of me is like, so Darrow talks about how he's got a hangover, like a wicked hangover.
Yeah.
And he was drinking with the jackal. And part of me is like, did the jackal get him drunk so he would be less attentive
aware
during the triumph
100%.
in the garden?
He's such
like,
he's such an instigator. Like he's literally, he's in it for the long game, just like his dad.
Yeah.
So
interesting. I never thought of that part, but 100% that he's, because Roke's not. Roke's fine because the two of them are hanging out, going down together. The thing for me is that how many people are missing, and we can do the count after when they start looking at who's not there. But the whole time, Darrow is just concentrated on the fact that Mustang's not there, and everyone keeps commenting, "Where is she? Oh, not here." Like,
just kidding. And everybody's chalking it up to lovers' quarrel.
Yes.
And it's like, I mean, it kind of is, but it's also a little bit more than that.
Yeah. But.
Yep. And then also he does realize that Fitchner's not around.
He knows.
Can't find him anywhere.
Yep.
And he's really worried because, was it Fitchner that was supposed to present him with his mask?
No, Lorne was supposed to present him with the mask.
Lorne, okay.
Yeah, and then Roke, or
steps in.
Lorne says, "I asked Roke to do it," and then he says, "Well, no, actually, Roke asked if he could do it, but same difference."
Yeah,
that's not the same difference.
It's not the same.
No,
it's not.
But Darrow's still with it enough that he notices that whoever gives him the drink, he's like, I recognize how that person walks.
Yeah.
So, like, it's like a characteristic.
Like, oh, I know who that is.
Yeah, it's not, but still takes the drink and drinks it. But, like...
Yeah, like, after
the only true allies we know are there are Lorne and Victra.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even, like, Narrow's there, but he's, at this point, iffy. Who knows what's happening there.
Well, I mean, he did...
not there
just...
either, right?
No, Severo's not there.
Yeah.
Severo was going... Like, he was there, and then he was like, I can't find Dad.
Oh, that's right.
Like,
and then he leaves.
I'm gonna dip.
He's too paranoid, yeah.
But the Telemanises aren't there, which that's the part that gets me.
Yeah.
Like, why were the Telemanises not... And they don't comment on that until the end when they say you don't want them to show up.
Yeah, the Telemanises are coming. Like, let's get
they're
the fuck
coming.
Out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. And then so, but then the people that he notices that are actually gold serving them.
Yes. It's
Vixis, Lilith.
Yeah.
Vixis and Lilith. So he recognizes them, and that's when shit starts hitting the fan.
Well, and at that point, he's, I think, realizing that the drink is hitting him slightly.
The drink is not what does it. The drink's not what does it.
What does it?
Roke
grabs
his hand.
Oh.
And his ring injects him.
Right.
Nice little parallel.
Yeah.
Between the
You're
Gala
right.
and
I don't know
Triumph.
how I forgot that one. Yeah.
Is it his ring, or does he actually...
No, it's his ring.
Is it?
Yeah.
I can't find it. I know I'm near it, but whatever.
I'm right here. Yeah.
Oh.
I pull back from Roke, about to shout when I feel his grip tighten, and I realize he was saying goodbye. A needle from his ring pricks my wrist.
Okay.
Gentle, like the kiss he now plants on my cheek. And
that's what it was.
Lyres with a bloody damn kiss.
Yeah. Which is what mirrors
that
Judas.
Word.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That word shatters a million lies.
Yeah.
Which
like, this is...
then just really proves that Roke was really done. And he just can't stand Darrow at the end. So.
Yep.
And then
at this point, he's holding the box.
Yeah.
No.
He's holding it.
Yeah, he's holding the
he
box,
sets it on the
and
table,
but we
Roke's
don't
had it.
know what it
Roke's
is.
had it, his hand on top of it.
Yeah, so he's holding the box.
And then Darrow goes limp, and Roke opens the box, and Darrow finds out what's in it.
Yes, but before that, I'm going to bring up that Antonia kills her mother and shoots Victra twice in the back.
Yep.
And so Victra is trying to get to Darrow, because the two of them end up, because as Darrow is falling down, we get the scenery of Victra going limp. That Victra's now.
So
that point where she's crawling to him and telling him over and over, like, I didn't know, I'm not part of this, like, I am allegiant to you.
Yeah. And she's grabbing his leg, I think, trying to get, and then we see that like he comments her hand goes limp, and then he opens, like, the box is opened.
Would it be best just to read that last section?
Yeah, someone just read it.
Which part? There's a lot.
Last page.
So,
and Cassius is there.
Oh yeah, that's right. Cassius is watching the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Is there a certain part you want to read, Crescent?
Yeah, so one word shatters 1,000 lies. This is immediately after Darrow gets jabbed with the ring. Face colder than the marble statue behind us, Roke draws back and opens the ivory box's lid. With a gentle creak of silver hinges, my world ends. Augustus gasps in horror at what's inside the box. And a foot away, the jackal, eyes full of long dormant hate, smiles at me and cocks his head back like an animal to loose a manic, mocking howl. So, immediately after the ring, Darrow finds out what's in the box.
Yeah. We just don't.
And then Lorne dies.
Right.
Yep.
Lilith slashes Lorne's throat. And then the jackal stabs Lorne to death.
And then we learn.
Victra and her mother get shot, and then Lorne dies.
Yep.
And then after that,
and then Victra is crawling to Darrow.
Yeah.
But we also learn in that point too that the jackal is the reason that Claudius died.
Yes.
That the jackal literally.
Yeah. Just after that, he's talking to. Yeah. Woof. Yeah.
This whole scene.
Oh God.
He learns. I'll just read it. It's better just to read it. The jackal steps forward. So now you can call me son. He clucks his tongue scoldingly and straightens his father's jacket. Was I your son when you put me on a rock for the elements to claim me? 3 days. I was a baby. The board didn't even want an exposure. But you thought I was so weak, and Claudius so strong. He was strong when I had Carnus put him in the ground. Or was he strong when I had Carnus put him in the ground? His father's lips tremble. What? I paid Carnus Albellona 7 million credits and 6 pinks to sully Claudius's girl. I knew Claudius's honor would lead him into the ring. Funny thing is, it was your money. I asked you for it so I could invest in my future, and I did. He frowns. Father, did you really think a 10-year-old cares about the silver market? You should have paid better attention.
A 10-year-old. A 10-year-old.
Yeah. What a fucking menace.
And then Nero immediately disowns him.
Oh, yeah.
And the jackal's just so confused.
Dies for it.
But, like, the jackal's confused. He goes and he has this big elaborate thing, and then Nero's just like, you're not my son. You killed my son. And he's like, wait, that's not what you wanted?
Right? Like, I don't get that. Well, okay, at no point do I get the jackal, so fine.
Yeah.
But.
No.
Yeah.
And then he dies.
I was going to say, and then we're done with Nero.
Yep.
And then,
And then Darrow reveals the box.
Aja's trying to get him not to do it. And Adri's is just like, nah.
Don't need him. It's fine.
Yep.
The Sovereign needed him to talk down the Outer Rim.
Did he, though? I don't think so. I just really didn't like Nero.
I also.
I mean, like, yeah, he's a piece of shit, but.
Yeah.
Yeah. But.
Like, slightly less of a piece of shit than the Jackal, I think.
Yeah. Yes. We can have a ranking.
If you're going. Yeah. Jackal.
Yep.
Nero.
Jackal at the top, just for our listeners who actually Spotify this. Jackal at the top, then Nero, and then, like, where are we putting Octavia? Is she above or below Nero?
I would say she's above Nero.
She's above, so we're going Jackal,
like Jackal, Octavia. Then Octavia, then Nero.
Okay.
I feel like we need a chart.
Yeah, we'll draw one up. And then probably fight about it, because the entire den has different opinions on it. But
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and then the very last paragraph is
you got to read the last 3 paragraphs.
Yeah,
let's just the whole book.
The last 2 paragraphs in a sentence.
Yeah.
With so it's weird because earlier we find out that Darrow knows what's in the box.
Yes.
And then now it says, I look into the box and my heart shatters. Like he hasn't looked.
Right.
Already?
You haven't properly looked in the box.
He maybe didn't process it.
I suppose. It's just, I've always found it odd.
Oh yeah.
Just how it's specified twice.
Yeah.
That he looks in and his heart shatters. But yeah, all that has been, all that was to be, crashes down. Eo's dream falls into darkness. Wherever you are, Severo, Mustang, Ragnar, do not come back to this world. There's too much pain, too much sorrow to ever mend it. I look into the box and see Fitchner's head staring back at me, eyeless, mouth stuffed with grapes. Ares, the one hope we had, the one man who picked me up when I was broken and gave me a chance for something better than revenge, has been butchered, and I know we are undone. Oof.
Mic drop.
Oof.
Okay.
Book drop? Book
throw?
Book drop.
Book, yeah.
Book throw.
So, before we actually process
Crescent was at about 1 a.m.
Yeah, I was going to say, where were you?
Yeah, I was laying in my bed, because, like, obviously you can't stop a couple chapters before this.
Yep.
And, 1 o'clock rolls around, and I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do? Like, I'm not sleeping after this. And when I had started reading, Morningstar was already out.
Yeah.
So, obviously, I had to... Yeah, right? So, obviously, I just started Morningstar right away. And I was like, okay, what the fuck? And I read 3-4 chapters type thing, and I was like, okay, I can go to bed now.
Because, Salem, we were at the same point that we had...
Yeah, we read it about the same time.
Yeah, I had a year. Like, Golden Sun was fresh out. That we were,
I think I had, 9 months.
Yeah. That you're just... this is probably, to me, one of the biggest endings of a book that I remember just being so traumatic. And, this is before I had connected with any other Howler. I didn't know anyone who had read this book.
Yeah.
And I just had to, sit with it. And that's what ended up drawing me to Twitter, to find the fandom, because I was like, I am broken and alone.
I had my husband, so he read Red Rising first, and then I read it directly after him. He devoured Golden Sun, and then I'm pretty sure, because this was when we were still dating, I think I was staying at his place, and he literally is just watching me read it, because he's like, you got it, I need somebody to talk to about this, you have to finish this, I need to talk about it. And I think I just looked up at him, and I was like, if I was alone, I would have thrown the book, but I was literally there, and I was just like, right? And then, like, that was when we both realized, like, oh my God, we still have at least 9 months for Morningstar to come out.
Yeah.
And I think that was about the time, too, where I, like, went and I found, like, some sort of, like, I think I found Pierce Brown on Twitter, but I wasn't big on Twitter. So I didn't, like, I tweeted him, like, twice. But then after that, it was, like, Morningstar then came out. And then I found, like, different Facebook groups and stuff. Yeah. And so it was, like, slowly. And I think that was part of the reason why I got so many people to read it. Like, because it was more of, like, I need other people to understand this.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yes. I think, like, so I do work in a bookstore, so obviously people around me at all times, I'm like, it's easy to recommend. Because I know by the time Morningstar came out, like, I had 2 good friends that had finished Morningstar the week Pierce came to Toronto, a week after Morningstar came out. And one friend who, oh my God, she sat in the front row reading Red Rising as Pierce walked out on the stage, and we were like, good luck with those spoilers, like, good luck with that. But I, at least at that point, I could force 2 of my coworkers to read it, and then I found Twitter that I was like, I am so destroyed by this, like, which, okay, so here's our next out of context, which is from Brackets. So we mentioned earlier that Brackets has not read Iron Gold and Dark Age because she's one of those people who needs, and I get it, you need them all to be finished. And so the first 3, being the trilogy, as they're called, Morningstar you can walk away from. She said she's going to read Lightbringer with us. She's going to do Iron Gold as it, like, as the den, as the den reads it, she will read it with us because she now has a support group. But so we were talking about the end of this book in the Out of Context, and this was just to me, because I was the only one in Out of Context who didn't have Morningstar waiting. So she said, oh my God,
I think Pierce Brown has to pay for your therapy.
I would like to collect on that.
The whole fandom.
The whole
I think
fandom.
You're right. Like,
yeah.
Pierce, pay for our therapy.
Yeah, Pierce, if you're out there.
Yeah, I just think this is the biggest one. Like, I remember getting to the end of Iron, well, maybe this one broke me more than the rest. But I remember getting to the end of Iron Gold and being like, okay, I know I have to wait. And, like, Dark Age, you're like, I'm traumatized, but I know I have to wait. But this was the one that I was like, I cannot wait. I cannot. Like,
I think also after Dark Age, you need that breath. So it's almost good that it's been so long.
Yeah.
To then have to go into the next portion.
Yeah. Rather than this one, you're just traumatized. And, like, it was going well for him. You think it ends of, like, I feel like it's because you think you go into it going, oh shit, his undoing will be Mustang. And you don't realize that his undoing is actually the Jacqueline Roque. Like, you are so focused on Mustang and being like, she's not actually going to hurt him. Like, we've been going this long for him to actually, and then it's like, she's not the problem.
Well, and then we've also, like, Pierce did a pretty decent job at painting the picture that the Jackal was maybe okay, but literally everybody's warning Darrow against him. And so it's like, okay, we all saw this coming, but we didn't see it coming.
Yeah. Yeah. It's emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
Yeah, it's just so much. And, like, so at this point, you think everybody's dead. Victra's dead, Lauren's dead, Nero's dead. You don't know where Severo is. You don't know where Mustang is. You don't know. You know the Telemanuses are alive because they're incoming.
Don't know where Ragnar is.
We don't know where Ragnar is.
Yeah.
The only hope we have is the Telemanuses. Like, that's it.
All we got.
So, it's just...
And then we just cut to black.
We fade to obsidian.
We fade to obsidian.
Yes.
I don't think that one is a fade. That one seems a very short.
That one's a
We
cut
cut
to
to.
obsidian.
That is a cut to obsidian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, wow.
Yeah.
This book packs a punch.
Yeah. It is a roundhouse kick to the gut.
Yeah.
So
and it's so there's so many pieces to it where it's like you get that character, or you get that moment of you guys are so close to having something so good. You finally all came together, and Fitchner's like, I'm here for you. We can actually work as a team.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have to keep you in the dark now. You can come actually work with us. And then it's all blown to shit.
Yep. So my question that I was going to ask earlier, and then we'll wait for now, and removing anything that may be Morningstar onwards, but I don't think this is answered. Do we know who do you think at this point ratted Darrow out? Because my assumption is he had the 3 captured.
Mm-hmm.
If one of them was to tattle between Mickey, Evie, and Harmony, who do you think it was?
I think when I first read this, I imagined I first imagined Mickey, because Mickey's character, I feel like he would totally like put him under pressure because he's a violet. Like, he's not necessarily a pink that like if you torture, he's like gonna talk, but I feel like if they dangle something in front of him that's either enticing enough or is like life-threatening enough, then he might say.
Okay.
So I think when I first read it, that was more of like, oh, it could have been Mickey. But also, given like all of the different things that we don't know about in this Gold Society, who's to say that they just didn't give Fitchner something, and then it was like some sort of something to make him tell the truth, and then he just
truth serum?
said it all.
Are you
Who knows?
Truth serum
exists? Maybe. I don't know.
It already, like, it does.
Now alcohol? Are you saying that truth serum exists in these days?
No, there is actually, like, it's maybe not 100% foolproof truth serum.
Like in real world, or
in real world? Yeah.
There's truth serum? Let's get
it's
on
in Community.
Okay. Yes. You are correct. For our 4 crossover fans between the Red Rising and Community. Yes. But also they're in the what's it called? Magitorium?
Sodium thiopental is the one they use in Community.
Yes. Oh,
but there's several, like, they're not like, you have to tell the truth. It's
those are
colloquial
real
name for any range of psychoactive drugs used in an effort to obtain information from subjects who are unable or unwilling to provide it otherwise. Include ethanol, scopolamine, I can't pronounce that one. Midazolam, flunitrazepam, sodium thiopental, and amobarbital.
All right, we're gonna need.
It's a real thing.
We're gonna need some of that.
Yep.
All right. It's outside the Dreamatorium, because that's where they use it in Community, is in the Dreamatorium, right?
Yep.
Yep.
It
See,
is.
I know most of Community. You're just a step ahead of me here. We have said that we will do some Community Fade to Obsidian episodes during Dark Age, so we can all be slightly happier. We'll just...
Just do like little short clips.
We'll do them after Dark Age in July before Lightbringer comes out,
so we can be slightly happier about all of this.
I think we also decided that we're gonna read the comics as the graphic novels as the Den in May during Iron Gold to combat Lysander.
Right, which needs combating. Not spoiler, but it's fine.
Everybody knows about that at least. That one you can spoil.
You can spoil just a little bit.
Yeah.
But back to who you think is giving away. So Truest Serum from Fisher.
Yeah,
who knows?
I don't.
It could be real.
For me, I can't even. Like, I can't separate that on my first read. Like, it was so like. It was like that between. Between having it happen and actually finding out, I can't separate it. Like,
wait,
I didn't
we
stop
find out?
reading.
Because I don't even remember that we find out.
Yeah, we find out in Morningstar.
Okay, well, let me give my theories before, because I do not remember this.
Okay.
I would say Skipper's well behind and has only read them once.
I have read them 4 times, just previous to 2018. A lot has happened since 2018.
Well, we were actually talking about it in the Den, and I posed this question at the end of Golden Sun, and a couple people were like, we find out. And I was like, no, I know we find out, like, but let's pretend like we don't know.
We don't. For me reading this, I assume Evie, because she's the one who always bends to everybody's will. Like, we see how much she goes back and forth. And then Mickey is too apologetic when he comes out. Like, you read back and you're like, why are you just apologizing for everything? You got a guilty conscience. But to me at this point, and now I'm so self-conscious because we find out, Harmony I don't think would, because she just is too much for the cause, that I think she would, at this moment, she would kill herself rather than give up and let the golds win. So it's got to be Evie or Mickey. Don't tell me. I'm so excited to come back to that chapter and then be like, oh, I was wrong. Like, don't react.
I think it's like chapter...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's next episode.
6?
We'll be talking about it.
Yeah, it's within the first quarter.
I think
it's even within the first 10 chapters.
Perfect.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we'll revisit this. But I remember the plot points. I think I said at some point what the plot points of... No, I remember some random plot points every once in a while that I'm like, oh. Mini spoiler, but by Felicia is a major plot point I remember. For different reasons that I will tell that story when we get there. But, Morningstar to me... It's very specific things. But it's been since 2018 since I've read them, so
I think that was me for Golden Sun. Like, I really did not remember a lot in Golden Sun. I remember just the plot points and some of the big things, but there were a lot of little things. It wasn't like rereading it like brand new, but it was reading it and realizing, oh, I forgot about these things.
Yep. All right. Well, this is the end of the book.
Yeah.
Concussion. Yeah, you've read it too many times. You're never.
Yeah.
But you also, I at one point reread these back, so I could pick out all the pop culture stuff. Like, I did a deep dive, and now I'm picking them out, being like, oh, there's one. And then I look and I'm like, oh, I got that one in the past. Like, I'm shocked. I was like, that's a cute pop culture. And I look and I'm like, oh, I got that. Previous me got that one before. So, yeah.
Okay. Well,
all right.
We're at the end of the book.
We're at the end of the book.
Yeah.
Any other comments on this whole?
I guess my question is, now that we finished it, what was your favorite part of the book? What was your favorite scene?
I like the meeting
Favorites?
of Orion and the taking of the Pax. I like this whole book because it's so action packed. Like it's somehow relationships in the middle of the action, but that one where you meet Ragnar, you meet Orion, and just how Darrow shows true leadership on a big scale in that moment. That's my favorite, and how that plays out.
Yeah. So I have two like extremely specific favorites. So with the sound of a tree branch cracking in winter, I claim the sword arm of Cassius Albolona.
Oh.
And then surrounded by superheated metal, I clasp Ragnar's arm through the door.
Through the
and
door.
I accept the stains.
Yep.
Yep.
Salem, what's yours?
I think I also have two favorites. I really enjoy, I don't know why, I just think I like Severo's scenes where he's just comical.
Yeah.
And it's that scene where he's singing his song to Pliny. And it's just he's just singing his song, or he's like, okay, thank the Reaper.
Yes. I'm a big fan of Thank the Reaper. I'm just like, just do it.
You unusually tall and decrepit peerless.
What's in my pocket?
Yeah.
And then the other one that I really enjoy was Mustang storming in, upset about the coup that happened. And literally, like, that whole scene is very gross with learning what Pliny wants to do.
Yeah.
But her reaction where she's just like, are you kidding me? Like, that's what he wanted to do? Fine. An eye for an eye. And she, like, throws his eyeball on the ground.
Okay. he said he always had his eye on me, so I took one of his. It's like, oh, fuck.
Yup. And then the scene directly after that where Lauren's like, oh my God, no, don't go like meet in the war room. Like, you need to take a break. You need to rest. And she just turns to him, and Darrow's like, I watch all of the Howlers and I take a step back from the situation. And she just goes off on Lauren. Like, why do I need a rest? Huh? Why?
I
will say, to Lauren's credit,
Mustang.
he's immediately like, I've made a mistake.
I love strong Mustang when she's just in her element, like, fuck off. I am what I am, and like, I will take you down.
Leave me alone.
Do not cross me. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love it. While you're talking about Severo, the other one that jumped out is when Darrow's questioning about, like, what if Ares isn't real and all that, and he jumps on the railing and does the howl, and that's kind of the first time we truly hear the, like, and the banners change and everything, and it's like, this is you. Like, that's a good scene.
This is your army.
Yeah.
This isn't anybody else's.
Yeah. Yep. That's a really good scene. Love that. Oh. All right.
Yeah, I think that's all for today.
Yeah,
thank you everybody for joining us on this week's episode of Fade to Obsidian.
Yeah, thank you, Salem, for always being our last guest of each book. It's working out well.
Our Mustang expert.
Yes,
of course.
And catch us next week on the first section of Morningstar.
Yeah.
Chugging right along.
It's going to be a big one. I don't remember it other than the trauma. I know that one's a trauma-filled section. So.
Yep.
Talk to your therapists. Book them after. It'll be great.
Yeah. Book them immediately for Wednesday night or Thursday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Whatever. Exactly. All right.
Bye.